Welcome back to Inspiration for an Elegant Week. Last episode we talked about finding your bliss and the importance of stepping into our elegant space to understand ourselves better. But what does elegant space actually mean, and why is it so important? One of the things I've come to understand is that we are way more intuitive than we know. Gut reactions, goosebumps, sinking hearts, low spirits, unexpected ideas happen all the time. Suddenly we find ourselves taking a different route to work, not catching the usual train, speaking to a stranger in the grocery store. These are all messages sent to get our attention, but they make no sense. And because we're conditioned to rely on reason, we often ignore them. Add to this how busy and distracted we are, multitasking and overscheduled, that not only do we ignore our intuition, we can't even hear it. Years ago, I was given the task of describing a woman I had never met or even heard of. All I had to go on was her first name and her age. This strange task had been assigned to me as part of a medical intuitive consultation I was having with behavioural neuroscientist Dr. Mona Lisa Schultz. She gave me 24 hours, so I needed to come up with something really fast. My first impulse was Google, Wikipedia, anything that might help, but I didn't have enough information to go on. I realised that in fact I didn't even know if the woman actually existed. I didn't know what to do. I needed concrete answers, and there weren't any. All I had to go on was what came into my head. So I sat down and started to write. And I wrote a story about a woman in an overstuffed living room, surrounded by beer bottles and overflowing ashtrays. She was very, very large and barely able to move. And I wrote she had a weight on her chest and a constriction in her neck. The next day, I called Dr. Schultz back with much trepidation. My description looked like make-believe and none of it made any sense. As I read, there was silence. And when I'd finished, she said, "You've described this woman perfectly. She's my mother." Dr. Schultz had used her extraordinary powers of intuition to help me to find mine. She told me that everyone has this ability. We just don't know or trust how to use it. But when we do, it can make everything we do on a daily basis easier and far less stressful. This inner well of knowing is our most powerful resource. When we don't use it, we're like an engine that doesn't fire on all cylinders. To live at peak performance, we need to take the time to access this vital part of ourselves. In my work, I describe this process as stepping into our elegant space. And what I mean by this is consciously creating the space to bring our minds, bodies, and spirits together so we can hear and put trust in what we already know. The answers to our problems never come from the outside. Something or somebody may trigger a response in us, but it's our reaction to it that provides the solution. There's nothing that we need that we don't already know. By describing this process as stepping into our elegant space, it's a way of turning a concept into something tangible that we can actually do. And like yoga and meditation, let's say, it requires discipline and practice. Every scenario we touch on in the Inspiration for an Elegant Week series requires that we step into our elegant space before we can do anything. And to do that, we need to stop and create a place of silence, stillness and solitude, even for just a few minutes each day, where we turn off electronics, sit with a cup of tea, or drive in silence and then listen. When you practice this regularly, it won't be long before you reap the benefits. You'll be able to make decisions more quickly. You'll know when it's right to take the job and when it's right to turn it down. You'll understand yourself better. You'll know when it's right to stand up for yourself and when it's right to walk away. You'll be clear about what really matters. You'll know who's the right partner for you and who isn't. And you'll find that living a life with more inner elegance becomes an integral part of who you are. Thank you for watching. The only control we have in this world is the control we have over ourselves. Take time to step into your elegant space this week. You'll be amazed at the answers you find you never knew you had. And although they may make no sense, trust them anyway. Have an elegant and peaceful week.